Markets have been relatively quiet this week, so instead of forcing conclusions, I'm going to use this analysis to walk you through a concrete example from the past. So I'm going to break down a 2024 Bitcoin Cash BCH trade to show you that the same high quality setups I look for in equities also exist in cryptocurrencies. So the framework is unchanged. We look for strong momentum, clean consolidation, clear resistance, a contraction of volatility, a decisive breakout, and a volume expansion. So the only difference is volatility for cryptocurrencies, which simply requires appropriate position sizing and risk management. And this is not a hindsight or cherry picking. It's a real trade that I took back then. And it's about also recognizing repeatable structure across markets and applying the same discipline process that we are familiar with. As usual, I'll also cover the broader market context before diving into the trade example. And so remember, the goal isn't to trade everything. It's to be ready when high quality opportunities appear. Remember to subscribe for more insights like these. Let's dive in. Starting with the analysis of the S&P 500, there is nothing much to say this week. As you can see, we had a pause. We have a little doji there in red. So last week I was saying that we had a clear close above our resistance line, right? So our box there, our step, our correction, kind of like clearly showed us a sign that, okay, we are going to potentially resume the uptrend. So, we are still above. And that's it. For me, risk management is still in aggressive mode. And that's it. Should this fall back again under, then I will modify again my risk management for the opportunities that I find. But that's about it. There's really nothing much happened this week there. Moving on to NASDAQ. And well, for NASDAQ, it's a bit of the same. Except for NASDAQ, in my opinion, we're still in a lateral consolidation. Okay, we're going sideways. We haven't yet closed above the previous high, so we are still risking moderately, I would say, even though NASDAQ follows closely the S&P 500, and that's about it. Not a lot of volatility, nothing much happened, kind of a doji as well this week. Moving on to DAX now, and well, would you look at that, right? We have we stayed basically above our clear little channel there, sideways channel, which has been going on for some time, and we were expecting and hoping that we would get a clear close above that would unleash the start of a new uptrend leg. That's what we got the previous week, so that's great, and this week kind of confirm it. We are still above, and definitely now for opportunities I'll find on the German market, I will be risking more per trade, right? That is what this analysis allows me to do. It allows me to manage my risk and my position sizing, and therefore be more aggressive when the conditions are favorable and much more defensive when they are less favorable, or even stay completely out when the conditions are bad. Now CAC 40, we also had a clear breakout last week. We went back under that resistance line this week, as you can see. So for me, still I have a bullish pass on that. We need to see. I think we need to see in the next few weeks. Are we gonna start this uptrend, right? But definitely we can see that we had the extraction from this large page there, which lasted for almost 2 years, year and a half. Break, pull back, and then break again. So that for me confirmed the start of a new uptrend on the CAC 40. As always, this is not prediction, this is reaction, right? I am just observing what's going on and taking action accordingly. That's it. I keep it really simple. I use, as you can see, clear resistance and support levels. I use channels, and that's it, I keep it simple because it just works really well. And usually in trading, the simpler you can keep your analysis in your strategies, the more effective they will be, and also the easier it will be for you to stick to it. Moving on to precious metals now with gold, and we had a nice week of upside on gold. So I'm gonna remove that, right? And yeah, it looks like gold is just like silver, right? It's just willing to go kind of in a straight line. So though we can see that you see the steepness there has reduced a bit. So which is if you ask me, like a bit better, because we were really going into a straight line, almost like exponential. So now we are slowing down a bit. That's all right. But there's nothing here. The structure hasn't broken. There's nothing telling us that this is about to, to turn around or whatever. I think the trend is still very healthy, and gold is doing well. Moving on to silver, and I mean, I'm smiling every week when I look at the chart, because every week I feel like I'm just repeating the same thing, which is, I mean, that's what's going on, right? Like this is literally getting vertical. We have gaps and strong weeks after strong weeks. I mean, if you look, so here we are, 24th, the week of November 24 until this week. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So about 8 weeks of just green and strong, one direction, vertical, right? And these are strong bars. Let me see. Am I in yeah, I was in logarithmic scale, so I'm sorry. So now look at that. These are very strong bars, right? I mean, in 8 weeks we were around $45 for silver. It went up as much as 84, so almost 100%. We are close to doubling, right, on silver in 8 weeks. I mean, that's phenomenal, right? So again, as I say, right, we are definitely in an aggressive climax run here, and yeah, just make sure you have a plan to manage that. That's all my advice. Analysis of Bitcoin, nothing much to say here, except let me move that a bit. As you can see, Bitcoin may be extracting from this little consolidation there, and what we say we'd like to see, and what I think would be healthy for the market in general, is that Bitcoin takes a bit longer to form this like larger consolidation between these two areas, with a reduction in volatility toward the end, maybe around this summer, and a break. And that would be a great setup to take a speculative trade on Bitcoin. Ethereum now, very similar scenario. We are still kind of in this like step consolidation. Same thing. What I would like to see is a clear consolidation over the next few months, and reduction in volatility toward the end, and a break. Again, that would be potentially a great setup for a speculative trade. Moving on to XRP, the third of the cryptocurrencies I usually like to analyze. And why XRP? Because of and actually, I am sorry, I've been showing you that without switching to the logarithmic scale. Sorry, so I'm doing that now. Why XRP? Because I just really like the configuration it's in. Again, as a reminder, we extracted from this very large multi-year triangle at the end of 2024. A beautiful contraction of volatility, very narrow toward the end, break, and as you can see, it unleashed a lot of volatility. I think that was a times 5 or 6. We got stuck around the previous all-time high, and now we are forming a flag, right? A consolidation, and hopefully we want these oscillations, this volatility, to narrow down toward the end and break. And breaking, closing above the all-time high with this forming is a beautiful setup that will give us strong chances to have a great run on XRP. And we have a potential of almost times 4 until around $15 area. Where did that come from? From here. I've just reused basically the amplitude from the start of the move all the way up to the previous all-time high, and I've just copied that over here. So this is not a prediction. It's not like this is what's going to happen. It's just that the rationale is this happened in the past, so it's just possible it happens again, and this allows to set a target. So let me give you an example. Let's imagine you're in the trade goes really well. You do have a trading plan, to manage your trade, like I have. Maybe I have like 4 scenarios that I follow. I have different techniques. You follow that, and then you can see maybe the price that arrives around there, around $15, and you can see that maybe for a few sessions, so maybe a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's hesitating and it's a bit blocked. So it's just that having this target in mind allows you to maybe offset more profits because, in case there is just a turn and, it can't break through. It allows you maybe to close your trade just to better manage your risk and take profit, right? That's how I would look at that. It's purely informative, but it may help you. I mean, if you get to that point, you already, let's assume you enter around here, you up almost like 4x, right? Plus 300%, which is massive, right? So that's it. That's how I would use like target areas like that. All right, finishing up with the dollar index, nothing much to add. As we said, we are in this double or triple bottom there, or maybe a cup with a handle forming, and a break of this could unleash an uptrend as well, with target area around there, around 20% appreciation. Where does that come from? Similar to what I just explained on, let me switch back to linear scale, sorry. Similar to what I just explained on XRP. We use the amplitude of that move and we reported it there. That's all it is. It's not that I wouldn't necessarily I wouldn't take position or anything, but assuming someone has a lot of euros in the bank, it may be a good time to exchange a chunk of that for USD and benefit from maybe this appreciation over maybe next few months or years. That's all. And moving on now to the trade analysis of Bitcoin Cash, BCH, and this is a trade from 2024. So this is a past trade, albeit it's been a couple years, because this was early 2024, so it's been a couple years. However, I just felt like this was a great example of high quality setups, identical to what I look for in stocks, right? And I wanted to show you that these things happen also on cryptocurrencies on the weekly time frame as well. Of course, you have way less. I mean, you have a lot of cryptocurrencies, but you have way less compared to stocks. The vast majority of them are illiquid, meaning that you're not going to find them necessarily on popular exchanges. You're going to have erratic move patterns. Like you don't have basically the actors, the people who own the asset will be very concentrated. So you might have large spikes, move, stop hunting, and so on, right? So it's just it can be ugly and extremely volatile, right? Like huge move within just a few hours or few days, but you do find them if you're patient. So what you want to do is to stick to the most liquid cryptocurrencies. So maybe look at the top 20, 50, 100. So that list is fairly small, meaning that when the conditions are not very good, you're not going to find much. But at the start of 2024, end of 2023 and beginning of 2024, we had basically the start of the bull market in general, right? With Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything was just like pumping up. And I wanted to show you that this trade just lined up beautifully with what we've analyzed actually in the past couple of weeks with this trade COFB that I took on the Euronext, where we had a bear market. So that was the peak you see, 2021, the peak of the previous bull market, bear market, downtrend, and then we have here basically accumulation, uncertainty, there is nothing going on, right? So that's our large base, and this large base has lasted for about a year, right? We have a clear level identified right there, and then mid-2023 we had a clear, powerful break extraction from that large base, right? So that tells us that the dynamic has changed. That tells us that there is now suddenly a lot of interest on data set, but I mean, this pattern was there on other cryptos, right? But not all had such a good pattern after the extraction of the large base, right? That's very important. We are not looking to trade everything that breaks out of a large base. This is this large base, ideally, what you want is to trade something that has strong momentum, right? If you're going to buy, you want to look for things with a strong momentum. So most of the time, the trade that you're going to have, what you want to look for, are stocks that have performed great, let's say for the past 12 months, right? That have had appreciation of at least 40 to 50% over the course of the past 12 months. So that will give you basically that strong momentum, and then you look for patterns like that. In some cases, so basically it means the best, like most of them will be already in an uptrend, right? There's not going to be necessarily a bear market or a large base before. They're going to be in an uptrend with some pauses, and throughout this uptrend, you want to look for that. You want to have that before taking a speculative trade. In some cases, and that's a great example as well, the same as a trade that we took 2 weeks ago and that ended up already being a win last weekend. The same, in this scenario, right, we have a bear market violently, dropping from the previous all-time high. We have a large base forming, a break. So again, change of attitude, change of intent, right? A change of interest. People are now looking at this to buy. They are looking to, trade. They're looking to do something with that. And that's when that has happened. That's when you want to watch out for these. You want to look for the first clean consolidation after the extraction of that large base. And that's what we have here. So if you remember, if you've watched my previous video on the 6 elements of explosive opportunities that I look for, and I have a video on that, so feel free to go and watch that. The first thing we watch for is strong momentum. So we have that here. And it just so happened that this was after the extraction of a large base. But strong momentum is important. How do we know we have strong momentum? Look at the size of these 2 bars, right? Like clear, like massive, just massive 2 weeks, right? Momentum is there. Then we are looking for number 2, a clean consolidation pattern above that large base, right? We have that here. We have a beautiful cup and handle, right? Cup and handle with a handle that is contrasting with the volatility of the cup. And we have that there with a contraction of volatility toward the end. We want a clear resistance line where price has not been erratically going above and so on, and has fairly respected that level, which we have here, right? You could draw it a little bit below, a little bit above, but as you can see, right, from the peak here, from the top, right, price basically corrected and never closed above until the breakout, right? So that's our number 3. Toward the end, we want a reduction in volatility. That's number 4. Contraction of volatility. That's going to basically prepare and cook for an explosive move. We want a decisive breakout, right? So something that closed clearly above our resistance line. So if you switch to a daily time frame, you'll see that the price started to peak through and then close clearly above. That's where I take position. Number 6 is volume. So they are not displayed there, but and volume for crypto are not always that helpful. But if you add the volumes, I don't have them there, you will see that they were strong bars around like that week, right? So that's what you want. That's number 6. So I entered right there in daily. If you switch to daily, you'll see, right? Place my stop actually a bit further down, and I think my stop was even further, right? So it looks like it's far, but there's a reason for that. It's because cryptocurrency that's so volatile. You could have within just a few days a massive move down before continuing. So you want to leave more room for cryptocurrency trades than for equities, for sure, right? You want to really leave it, I would say, at least 1.5 to maybe even twice more room, right? So I don't remember exactly where it was, but I do remember it was quite a bit below than usual. Took partial profit there, 1-to-1. That's what I like to do. And that trade, as you can see, quickly turned around, right? So yeah, it was not something that went to the moon. And as you can see, we are still stuck there in that range. And that's fine, Took partial profit. We had, if you watch the video of the 4 ways to, the 4 trend scenarios to manage trade, I have video on that as well. So we had a beautiful box here forming, consolidation, close above. So I would have basically a stop in that area, meaning that I can bring my stop. My stop was up anyways after I took partial, right? And then after we close above that box, that tells us, all right, we had a clean consolidation with a strong close above. It is likely that the price continues, so it is safe for me to bring my stop around that area, right? And as you can see, the trade just reversed and we got executed there. So small profit there, but I took partial at 1-to-1. So it's a small win. There's nothing massive, but this trade worked out beautifully, right? That's exactly what we want to look for. You want to stack, you want to basically stack in your portfolio trades like that. And that's it. You see, like this trade took months to develop, right? And that's fine. That's completely fine, right? This was already a win. There was no risk anymore the moment I took partial profits, and it ended up being a modest win, and that's great. You know, again, usually I would say that it's 1 time out of 10 you're gonna have a trade that's gonna be like massive, right? Like it's 10% of your trade that are gonna make up all of the vast majority of your performance, right? I would say that 70%, 60 to 70% are going to be maybe small wins, small losses, and maybe like 20% you're going to have losses following my plan, right? Based on stats, 20% of like 20-30% of like pure hard loss, 60-70% of small wins or like scratches or flat kind of, and then 10% that will just drive everything. So that's what we do. I don't know, what happened when I take a trade, but I'm here basically. I'm just doing my routine every day. I expose myself to high quality opportunities, and I follow my plan precisely when I do so, when I expose myself, and then I let the market do its job. I'm not praying or doing anything like voodoo to try and make the trade work. No, I don't. I just expose myself, and that's it. It takes care of itself, and that's the beauty of it, and it just works really well for me. So if you'd like to learn more about this, subscribe to this channel, drop on the website, drop your mail, subscribe to Telegram as well, because I'm posting content every week, these analyses, and also some pieces like that, right? That are kind of meant to be to educate and to share tips and best practices of trading in such a way, right? And if you watch the videos, you'll see that I share also like bits of my trading plan, my strategy, what I look for. So thanks for watching, and see you soon.